Welcome to episode 1 of the IILIFE Show podcast, Mindset Mastery. On this episode, we sit down with experts Dr. Adil Dalal and Dr. Ann Sung to uncover insights about how to develop your mindset for success. We'll dive into overcoming your fears, cultivating a growth mindset, seeking mentorship, prioritizing your health, and much more to empower you to rewire your brain and transform your perspective in order to design a life well lived.
We are focusing on the mindset mastery. I want to high level quickly introduce, of course, they can say a few words at when we get into the Q&A, or maybe we can actually have him say a word or two. So again, like I said, Dr. Adil, a global leader, and has done a lot of keynotes focused on legacy, mindset, and a lot of critical areas that are important for us, including neuroscience and other areas. So definitely he's going to be able to give a lot of insights.
So basically, what mindset does is really you need to have. I'll give you an example of a mindset, correct? Have you heard this poem Invictus? Anyone knows the poem? It's one of my favorite poems. And the last para says, no matter how straight the gate, no matter how charged the scroll is with punishments, okay, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Do you know who wrote this?
Who?
William Ernest Henley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you think his profession was? A warrior? What was he when he wrote this?
I'm not sure.
So he's a Stoic. Stoic is a person who believes that everything happens for a purpose. And he wrote this poem when he was in the hospital for 3 years. He had almost an incurable disease. Okay? And he passed away in 1903. Today, after 120 years, this poem is reflecting on his mindset and his legacy. He left that for us. Today, it's become, just that one poem has changed so many lives.
Awesome.
Correct? So just think of that small mindset change and how he has impacted my life. Correct? Similarly, those who love this poem, it will impact your life.
I definitely echo that sentiment because of that mindset shift that I got as part of the personal development, I was able to go in a different direction, achieve amazing success. And do you want to chime in on that point?
Yeah, I love Stoicism, so I appreciate you bringing that up. And some examples of what I've seen, in my clients, they would send out, like, you can't really do anything if you have a limited mindset, right? So it's either you're in the mindset of everybody's out against me, people are ignoring me. My client sent a message on WhatsApp asking for a resource, nobody responded, and people kept talking. So his mindset was, they just ignore me. But really, I told him, well, maybe they just didn't know the answer to what your question was, so that's why they stopped asking. Another thing is mindset of like creating a podcast or something on the public, or a webinar, or public speaking in general. You may have the mindset of what are people going to think about me? So it's all mindset on ego. It's about me. But if you can change that mindset before you get on the show, which is what I do for my podcast, that's what I had to do for my first show. I had to repeat to myself, it's about them, not about me. It's about them, not about me. So there's just like that slight shift. It's so, so important. And if you can think that everything we need is within us now, and I have everything, I have the capability to achieve anything I want with the right resource and the right people. So super important.
Thank you very much, Ann.
Thank you. Totally makes sense. Is the mindset mastery and personal development same?
Yes, absolutely. It's a link, right? Each one is linked together.
Okay.
Right? And it all starts with the mindset.
What other components are there as part of personal development?
So here is the thing is, you have to individualize this. Correct? What personal development means to you, what success means to you, is very different than what success means to Mukesh.
100%.
So what I say is, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, just like success is in the mind of the soldier. Whoever is that soldier there, that individual, that is where success lies. So for us, it may be different value chain, which is different. For some people, it may be completely different.
Totally.
And that is why when I coach my people, what I say is, first thing, what does success mean to you? I really need to know that, because I'm not going to put something which I feel is my success into their mind.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, totally makes sense.
So it's a personalized, it's a tailored, it's a customized solution.
Oh, so a follow-on question on that one is, I touched like character traits, right?
Yeah.
So how does that fit into the journey as part of this mindset mastery, and what one should focus on the character trait side?
Very good question. Actually, this is very important. So Socrates said, know thyself, correct? Socrates was half right. Do you know why?
Please tell me. I don't know.
I am no Socrates, but I added the half for him. Okay. I said, know thyself, then transform thyself. Because knowing yourself doesn't mean anything. It's just half the truth.
Right.
So what we need to do is you truly need to go through that transformation journey. Okay. And how does that transformation journey come about is also a personalized journey. Correct? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. So, and if to reinvent yourself, use the mindset, mastering the mindset is a framework. And so that means you are trying to figure out and improve your character traits. So if somebody that is starting, what are the top 3 character traits people should focus on?
It depends. That question was for me, right? Did you say Anne?
Yes.
It depends. Because usually I would tell them, figure out your top 5 strengths, double down your top 5 strengths and work on those for sure. And then you look at the maybe 1 or 2 weaknesses. For example, for me, my weakness is that I am, I try to learn. I'm a learning addict. I try to go for certifications after certifications, go to conferences. And that weakness, I had to actually say no because of my 5-month-old and then my 2-year-old. And I had to, my weakness is I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
So it's a very conscious decision to learn how to stop. So for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm doubling down on my strength as a time creator coach. So I'm always working on that as well, become, a high performance coach. So know your top 5 strength, maybe double down on the top 1 or 2, and then work on your top 1 weakness so that that gives you like a more balanced life with your loved ones, your contribution, your growth, and your professional life.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I would like to add small things to, right? The weakness, I think the fear, that is also part, right? So when you want to take your mindset, the fear is one weakness that I faced, right? When I want to change my technology professional to come out and do something else, the weakness is fear.
Yeah. So use the weakness, use the fear to really make it as a fuel to overcome. Totally makes sense.
So
Thank
what
you.
is fear?
Yeah. So
What is fear?
what? Yeah. Please shed more light on that.
There are a couple of definitions of fear. Fear is false expectation appearing real.
100%. That is
Correct?
so true. Yeah, we go into too much what if analysis and then really not
Yes,
necessarily
we get
100%.
into these knots, right?
Just take the facts and then
Okay, so the other definition of fear is face everything and right.
okay.
Okay, so
Got it.
these are the two, whichever you choose, it's like which wolf are you feeding, that wolf will win.
Got it. Makes sense. So I have a couple of little bit more detail. For example, for us, for IILIFE, we have certain values that we focus on, like for authentic courage, commitment. Some of those things we kind of cherish. We kind of tell everybody in our not only our as part of organization, we expect that to be the guiding principle. So the question was for similar question I asked Anne. So if you think to reinvent ourselves, if you want to figure out those few things that really helps us recreate a better version. Do you have any few values that you think you want to give it to people that wants to start?
For me, those values are very, again, personalized, but there are some key values which are very important is the flexibility, resilience,
Yep.
adaptability. Correct?
Super right. Yeah,
Because
super.
if you are rigid in the way you think, you're rigid in some of the things which you want to do, you lose. It's like, let's close our fist. Let's close our fist. Okay. Whatever is in there, you have it. Right.
Yeah.
Now I want to pick up something else from this table. Are we going to be able to do that? Or someone wants to give you something,
Yeah.
you lose that. When you're adaptable, when you say, yes, I'm open, the universe starts giving you things which you did not expect.
Right.
And
Right.
that is how, so the mindset is very critical.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's look into, okay, assuming that we do really want to change ourselves, we want to achieve some meaningful success for ourselves. So, I mean, we talk about like focusing on these different pillars because those are all part of life, right? So, we use mindset as the first thing because if you don't even change that mindset, you can't focus on anything else. So then we kind of went into health, wealth, happiness, relationships, and fulfillment. So I always say that pick one and then focus on it, other than the mindset, of course, the remaining pillars. So in general, for somebody to achieve their maximum potential, what is a path that you can suggest beyond like what we are pursuing, the way that we are saying?
Okay. This is my personal path, which I have chosen. So let me explain what this is. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita, it's like the Quran of Muslims and Bible of the Christians. And Lord Krishna says a really beautiful thing. He says, your body is the chariot, yourself is the master.
Mhm.
Okay? Your intellect is the charioteer.
Mhm.
Your mind is the reins.
Okay.
And your senses, your five senses, hearing, seeing, tasting, touching,
Mhm.
vision, all of those are the horses.
Mhm.
And the sense objects is the path.
Okay.
Right. So the person who is in control of their senses,
Wow. Okay.
who can rein in the senses, and who the charioteer is, uses the intellect well to guide to the end of the journey, they will reach that end.
Yep.
Correct?
100%.
So it is again a choice. For me, my choice has been to build a mindset of excellence. Whatever I do, when I coach people, this is what I teach them. This is what I write about, the mindset of excellence.
Mhm.
And there are three things which creates a mindset of excellence. One is that mindset. So the mindset of excellence, it's not a skill set, but a mindset. Excellence is not a skill set.
Mhm.
It is a mindset.
Okay.
Correct? Excellence is not the end point. It is a starting point.
100%.
For example, you want to have the best apple. You want to taste the best apple. You can't, once the apple is grown, you cannot say, hey, this does not taste good. This is what corporations do. They think the quality is at the end. No, quality is in the seed.
Yep. So true.
Start with the seed if you want the mindset of excellence.
Yeah.
And the final, it is a pursuit of perfection, not perfection. You will never reach that.
Exactly. I always say that we look for that max potential, max success, whatever it is, but that's only a milestone. When we go to that milestone, there is more to it. We always want to do
You
that.
always want to, yeah. And that is how I coach my students and
Awesome.
my people who come to me for coaching. So that is the basis. If they don't have that, we cannot take the next level.
Yeah, that actually one more point in that you also want to really cherish the journey along the way. Otherwise, you are kind of missing the point. So
Exactly.
you got to enjoy what you do
Yes.
along
Smell
the
the
way.
roses, as
the
they
journey.
say.
Exactly, right? So
Yeah,
super
so
good.
every milestone is, it's a starting point for next milestone.
Awesome. That's great. So let's go to Anne. I know you focus a lot on the um, peak performance, helping people to achieve their full potential in that area. And you coach a lot of people. So can you give a little bit more into what people should focus on? How can they go achieve that peak performance or productivity, etc.? Please.
I'll give you a few foundations. Those are the basics, probably. And then the rest are a little bit, I won't go into detail on the rest. It will take a bit more. But I will say, really, to achieve peak performance and have maximal productivity is sleep. I mean, it's very simple. We can't cheat our biology. So, and I'm not just talking about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I'm talking about getting at least, depending on you, it may be an hour and a half, it may be 2 hours of REM sleep and deep sleep. And it has to be restorative sleep. And I can sleep efficiently, have 6 hours of sleep, get enough REM and deep. If I get enough REM and deep, I can do what I need to do, my top 3 priorities, first hour in the morning, versus if I try to wake up early to try to be productive, but cut my sleep and not go to bed early, it will take me double or triple the time to finish the same top 3 priorities. So number one is sleep. Number two is really setting your non-negotiables. And I'm talking about like not having work going across those boundaries if that's what's important to you. My now negotiable time is usually 7 to 9:30 with my kids, and then usually about 4 to 8 with my kids. My workouts 3 times a week, etc. My weekly date nights, and then you schedule everything else around that, because I would say perhaps the mindset piece that's really big that I've recently realized with peak performance and productivity is that we place our own urgencies and deadlines on what we want to achieve. A lot of us are already living a good life, and we set new goals and we compare ourselves to others, and then we live in the gap and not the gain. And so we try to put these career things, have across our boundaries into our kids, our spouses, and it's not a well-balanced life. And so I would say that's probably, you want to be a peak performer, like a peak performing mom or a dad. You want to be a peak performing wife or husband, and not just a peak performer in your work. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Oh, great. Thank you. That's
excellent. Anne.
great answer.
Can I ask Anne a question?
Please.
And you brought up the REM sleep, and I totally agree. With so much stress going around today, I'm very passionate about stress management, helping, globally on that. And I personally, it's always a challenge to, when you're doing so many different things, how do you, because that stress also has a big impact on your sleep. How do you get those 2 hours of REM sleep which you need if you are, kind of your mind is always running, right? How do you do that?
Yes. There's a few things that very quickly, I think you guys can, for people who are listening, I wrote a blog for the Oura ring. I didn't really get paid. They just sent me the ring and I tested it in Antarctica. So if you Google An Sung Antarctica Oura, it has a lot of sleep tactics at the very bottom. But I will say, really, the main thing is activating your parasympathetic, learning to rest and relax, giving your brain some white space when you're going through your work cycles. And the biggest thing I will say that's actionable right now today would be not eat 3 hours prior, 2 to 3 hours prior to going to sleep. And if you're going to minimize screen, put your phone in the kitchen. I put my phone in the kitchen or somewhere other than your bedroom if you can't help yourself. And then also wear blue light blocking glasses. It's called UVEX blue blockers on Amazon. You can get that. There's like an orange version, and then I use a true dark red version that's really, really dark, like an hour before bed. And that will help you. So if you are exposed to blue light, then your melatonin gets suppressed. And so you won't be sleepy, as sleepy, and you're kind of laying in bed. So I would definitely focus on food, like food timing and blue light.
Yeah.
And blocking all that from your bedroom, if that answers your question.
Absolutely. And I think what you talk about the cell phone, I mean, it's now an extension, right? It's like the third arm, we just reach for it, even without thinking, and we all keep it next to our bed. And I think keeping it away is such an important thing. So, thanks, Anne.
Yeah.
Especially the smartphones.
Yeah.
That is the culprit.
Yeah. When I do training globally, first thing I tell them is, guys, I know your phones are smart, but I also want you to be smart. So today the phones are smart and we are becoming dumb.
Right. Exactly.
So keeping that away is so important.
Right. So let's go into a couple of other areas. You guys touched about having a good life, etc. But in my view, that gets us to not focus on getting to a great life, right? So good isn't actually a issue for most of us, because I mean, people that already change their mindset, it's amazing. But people that are not even thinking in the direction, it's a big problem. So how do you, let's say one of you guys could take it, how do you realize that, hey, this is not the end of it? Yes, I'm in a good position, good situation. How do I get to a great situation? Because life is about designing however you design, right? We use that, design a life well lived.
Yeah.
So how do you go about?
And you want to take it or you want me to take it?
Oh, go ahead. If you have something, go ahead.
So let me take a step back, correct? What is common between, say, Henry Ford, Oprah, Steve Jobs, Thomas Edison? Can you tell me what is the common thread between these people?
They saw and use their whatever the challenges that they had or adversities that they had, they took that one as a fuel, and then they went all in without worrying about what happens, etc. I think that's probably one of the things, but again, go into the details.
So all of them were failures. Henry Ford was bankrupt even before he started Ford. Okay, we know, Oprah went through a terrible time. She was personally as well as professionally. Steve Jobs, we know, was fired from his own job, correct, own company.
Yep.
So these guys, how did they become so famous? How did they become so rich? Let's take them as a case study, correct? So the key thing they do is they look at failures. So what failure does, whenever you're faced with failures, first thing, your fear hits the amygdala in your brain. Amygdala makes you either freeze, run, okay, so fight or flight response.
Sure.
When that takes over your thinking, basically cortisol is released. Cortisol is a stress hormone.
Yep.
When that happens, basically your prefrontal cortex seizes up, becomes either extremely active, but it does not give you the reasoning of what steps to take. So the people who are able to get out of that phase are the successes. How do you get out of that? It's the growth mindset.
Got it.
What is the growth mindset? The growth mindset is when you take these failures and you look at them and say, what can I learn from them?
Yep.
When you start doing that simple shift, okay, this is an article of mine which is coming out in Forbes. Within about 2 or 3 weeks, it will be out. But I've written about this is that when you have this, it releases dopamine. Dopamine is your happy chemical. When that happens, you start having that the growth process starts there. Right? When you engage, when you say, you know what, every time I have failure, I'm actually learning something new.
That's true.
And last point I will make, Thomas Edison, do you know how many times he failed?
He did not fail.
How many times he could not create the bulb was 1,800 times.
Yeah.
Okay. At the 1,000th time, reporters all ganged up on him and said, "Sir, you failed 1,000 times. What do you say about yourself?" Says, "Hey man, what failure? I didn't fail. I know 1,000 things that didn't work."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This
I
is
tell you.
the fundamental thing, correct?
100%. And I'm a perfect example because I went through these challenges. That's the only reason I was able to reinvent myself and able to push myself to do certain things, right? I totally get it. So I think we have a little short time, and I would actually extend it for another 15 minutes. Whoever can stick around, please stick around, so that way we can hit few more questions. And I hope that is okay,
I'm fine with
Adil
it.
and then Anne. Is that okay?
I do have to hop at the hour because I'm actually at another conference.
Thank you. All right, sounds good. And then couple of the final questions is, if you are somebody like a 20-year-old of like ago, like with all the experience that you have today, knowledge and all that things, going back to 20-year-old of yourself, what do you tell them? What is that thing that
Give
voice
it
that
to
you
Anne.
And
She
please,
has to go.
you have to go, please.
Yeah, also
I love
one-
listening
what
to
is it?
her.
I would
Also,
say play more. Because one of our we have three family values that's, on a wooden board and downstairs. It's courage, it's compassion, and playfulness. Because I realize that now that I am actually a student from my 5-year-old. She teaches me how to be present. And then I'm a student from my 2-year-old. She teaches me how to be present and play and just sit there and pick up dead worms that are dried up from the sun, or like pick flowers, and just noticing the moment. And so when the life throws you chances for adventure and opportunity, or just play more, and it's not all about getting to a goal or heading this way, heading that way. It's about noticing the present and enjoying and just going on adventures and saying yes to them.
Awesome. Yeah, learning to dance when it's raining instead of waiting for the rain to end makes sense. So do you want to throw something?
Yeah, I think more relaxation, more enjoying the journey. I think at 20-year-old, you really are not thinking about so much. You have that one goal which you want to achieve. This is why what I do is I have a program on a legacy-driven life, correct, based on my book, where I teach people how to look a little forward into the life,
Right.
how to create that North Star which will guide you on the longer journey. What happens is when you are looking at only small steps, even the small failures seem insurmountable. When you look at the big journey, then it becomes a little bit easier for us. So, and I completely echo what Anne is saying on playfulness, because actually what she is saying is from a neuroscience, our neuroplasticity. What happens is when you are too serious, this is what I teach my organize when I do workshops and everything for my companies. What I teach them is, guys, let's enjoy, because the more serious you get in my class or more in my workshop, you're actually going to lose a lot. When you are playing, when you are having fun, your brain actually relaxes. The neurons are reacting in a different way. The positive chemicals are being released, and that changes the way you are able to absorb the material.
Yeah. So
that is the change.
I think totally makes sense. You are in a great place where you are today, but at the same time, use your North Star, use your why to go in the right direction, even if it is 1 inch at a time. How do you set a goal?
Yeah, there's different types of goal setting. Either your goal is like a very, very far away, or the goal could be like right here in front of you in 90 days. It took me 15 years to get to NASA. From when I set that goal, it took me 15 years. And it's always about the end outcome. You always see your end vision first. My end vision was, no matter what I did in life, because I was going to medicine regardless to go to med school. But no matter what I did down in the future, I wanted to contribute to NASA. So there's always that North Star. And now I also teach my clients, very first thing you do is actually your life vision. When you're 85 or 90 years old with good health and good mental capacity. So who are you spending your time with? What are you doing? What are you learning? What income do you have? Passive income per month. They're very, very specific. What hobbies are you actually doing? What emotions are you feeling? And then we work backwards from that, because there's no point of doing something now that doesn't get to your life vision or your future. Then we work backwards, 5 goals for the year. Then we pick one goal, like you were talking about, the big, hairy, audacious goal. Pick that one goal and just go for it, but never letting those goals, step into your non-negotiables. And then out of the 5 goals, one should be yourself, one should be your spouse, if you have one should be your kids, if you have any. And then really it leaves 2 big professional goals to work on. And the big thing about goal setting is to be very focused, laser focused on 1 or 2 things, because oftentimes we're starting projects and we're just moving slow on all of them. And then you work backwards even more after you have your BHAG or your 5 goals and the BHAG from that. Then we start doing like 90-day goals. And then when I talk to my clients, it's every 2 weeks, like next 2 weeks, 3 action. What are you going to do? So then you set your top 3 priorities for the next day, the next morning. You do it the night before. And then you do those things that moves the needle towards 1 or 2 big goals.
What I'm hearing is have those non-negotiables figured out, and then have a BHAG, maybe 10 years down the line what you want, but break it into multiple pieces and then figure out what is ultimately that you could accomplish in the next 3 years, 1 year, 3 months, 3 weeks, or whatever it is, and then go at it with full force, but don't compromise on those non-negotiables.
The quickest way to get to your goal, the first thing I always ask is, who do you know who's already doing it? And go find them and have them teach it to you. Find a mentor.
Awesome. 100%. See, that's one of the important things. A lot of people don't ask when they need something, when they need help, etc. Finding the mentors, leverage their experience, their setbacks, etc. versus you going, learning, failing multiple times. That's nobody does it. I think everybody should spend enough energy, time, and dollars to engage mentors and attend whatever the conferences, read books, etc. to accomplish those things. I think that way you can speed up your whatever the journey and the success that you could accomplish. So I want to ask the same question to you, Adil, because it's a super important question. How do you set a goal?
For my business, my motto is, you are more than you can ever imagine.
100%.
Right? What that means is our potential is so vast, and we really don't reach that level because we really are always that fear, and everything just stops us from doing that. So, So the other saying I say is, aim for the stars. Even if you fall short, you will land on the moon.
100%.
Which is not a bad place, correct? So
totally agree.
So this is my mindset. This is how I teach the people. But goal setting tools, I'll talk to you from a corporate side and a personal side. So today there is so much uncertainty in the corporate side that people are not able to do a 5-year planning. So whenever I am a lean sensei, I go and transform organizations. One of the tools I use is called Hoshin Kanri. It's created by Toyota. What you do is, in one page, you are going from a 3-year plan to a 1-year plan to actual, tasks and things you're doing. Who's going to do that, by when, and what is the budget for that? In one page, I can show them everything. That is an amazing tool, and I do that for corporations. Now, on the personal side, my go-to method is the Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants, which you just showed, right?
Yeah.
The 4 quadrants, basically the important, urgent. The important, urgent are your firefighting.
Yeah.
And people are always mostly stuck in that. Then there is the not important, not urgent, which are all the time wasters. Where people miss is it is important but not urgent. That is quadrant 2. That is where your goal should be. That is where your longer term goal should be. have 3 to 5 goals out there every year.
Yeah.
So I start probably in December. I have my 4 quadrants set up, and I teach my people too. Correct?
Yep.
How do you do that? Why is this important? Say you have I have a jar. I have sand, I have pebbles, and I have rocks. What will you put in there first? People will start usually with the sand. That's all
They
the
can't
time
put anything
wasters.
else,
Then
yeah.
they start the pebbles, no place for the rocks.
100%.
What you do, the people who are really achieving their goals put the rocks in first, then the pebbles, and then the sand takes all the empty spaces away.
That's how you
This
say
is
it.
goal setting. This is goal achieving.
100% agree with you. And to wrap up this Q&A, I want to ask you a last question. What is legacy building?
Legacy is basically, as I said, it's not only about wealth. Legacy is really giving back to the next generation. So
Mhm.
it is beyond the why. It is beyond the purpose. Your purpose is what you achieve for the short term in this life. What legacy is something way beyond. So, for example, today if we talk about Mahatma Gandhi, or say another great leader, you actually, if you will see that our mind makes them present here. You don't think they are dead, correct? We think of their values. The values are living, and that is what connects us to them.
So what I'm hearing is basically what you leave to the next generations, who you are, what you become, what value that you added to the overall society or
Exactly.
anybody. That is
And-
what is
and
legacy.
here is the key thing. Mother Teresa says, not everyone can do great things, but we can do small things with great love.
100%. It's so
And
so
that
right.
is so important, because you can write a book and that can influence. I talked about William Henley, correct?
Yeah.
He wrote a poem. He's affected so many people. That's his legacy.
Yeah.
Correct. Everyone has left something behind. When you think of that next generation to give back,
Mhm.
that is when you start. And the key point, you cannot leave a legacy. People think, oh, I'm going to leave behind. No, you have to live a legacy. That is the title of my book. Correct.
Makes sense.
Live a legacy to leave a legacy. It's no
That
other
is
way.
true.
So you
Yeah.
live it now, present moment.
Yeah, there is only one life at the end, right? So if we don't live that, what's the point? I mean, we got to live. That's why our core thing is design a life well lived.
Yeah.
Balancing all these pillars to maximize how best that you could live.
Mhm.
We call it like true wealth, beyond financials, beyond everything. How can you have a maximum health, maximum relationships, maximum happiness, and ultimately fulfillment? So, what are you going to take away from here? Try to figure out what the definition of design a life well lived means for you. What actions that you're going to take for accomplishing that one. So, spend some time, and then we are happy to have follow-on conversations with you guys on these things. Dr. Adil and Dr. Ann, they would love to help any of the follow-on questions that you may have. We would have a lot more mastermind sessions, and then some courses and etc. would be also there down the line. But please go to our IILife Academy, which is iilife.live/academy. We want to engage all our thought leaders out there with you guys and see how we can help you guys achieve your true wealth or your best life that you could live. Thank you. Really appreciate your time being here. I hope this added some value to you guys.
Please,
Thank you.
if you have any questions, do connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
If you look at, Adil Dalal, you'll find my, so please, if you have any questions, feel free. Thank you very much.